Terraforming Mars is an excellent medium-length strategy game wherein players take on the role of megacorporations competing to, well, terraform Mars. You add oxygen to the atmosphere, heat to the planet, and oceans to its surface. And in the end, whoever has the most prestige wins the game. But why are megacorporations the ones terraforming? Hello and welcome. I'm Zilla, and this is my Athenaeum. Today we'll be discussing the hypercapitalist future envisioned by Terraforming Mars. When humanity first sent people into space, it took the resources of entire governments to do it. It was a competition between not quite warring nations. When NASA was founded, it struck the US with something of a national fervor. Every new accomplishment was met with nationwide interest. Indeed, NASA still sparks the American imagination to this day, being a popular tourist destination and the central focus of many dreams of young explorers. But these days, when Americans think of space exploration, they might think of Elon Musk before they think of NASA. Our government lately has been more interested in a space defense force than in scientific exploration, but billionaires can fund launches all year long. It's not hard to imagine a trajectory from here that leads to corporations doing more of the work on a Mars colony than the government. It's not that the government doesn't exist in Terraforming Mars. In fact, among the corporations that you can play as is UNMI, or the United Nations Mars Initiative. But UNMI is among the least powerful of the available player corps. According to UNMI's card text, UNMI is the organization carrying out the world government's own terraforming projects. After the terraforming announcement, the UNMI got competition from different corporations, but is still a major force behind Mars's development. The only other reference to UNMI or the world government in the base game comes from the beginning of the rulebook, where the flavor text of that terraforming announcement reads, "Since its inception in 2174, the world government has continually strived for global unity and peace. Our mission is to be humanity's shared tool for shaping a better future. Earth is overpopulated and resources are dwindling. We now face the choice to either recede or to expand into space to find new homes for humanity. For this reason, we need to turn Mars into a habitable planet. The terraforming of Mars is an endeavor so great that it will take the united effort of mankind to accomplish. The world government will therefore inaugurate a terraforming committee and instate a universal tax for this purpose. Any corporation or enterprise contributing to the terraforming process will be generously rewarded by the committee. We believe that these measures will eventually result in a habitable planet for our descendants. Thank you for your attention." Signed, Levi Yukin, World Government Communicator, January 16th, 2315 AD. A little more of this story is told in one of the cards from the Preludes expansion, UNMI Contractor, which reads, "Your early terraforming work for UNMI is taken into account by the Terraforming Committee." This implies that the groundwork was done before the game actually starts, and UNMI, and indeed the world government, are only involved in gameplay so much as either somebody is playing UNMI in the game, or the world government is handing out the promised reward to the corporations who are taking it up. There's a big difference between a government contracting for work and the government handing money to corporations to do it however they want. The world government, in the form of the Terraforming Committee, does have some control over the win state of the game, in that they hand out terraforming rating, or TR, which adds to your victory points at the end of the game. You also get TR added to your money income every round, or generation. But that's only ever implied, not stated. In fact, the place you can see it most clearly is here, on the Bribe Committee card. That comes with the corporate era expansion, and its power is to give you 2 TR immediately. And while it doesn't state that that's the Terraforming Committee, it's heavily implied. So, if it weren't for bribed committee, UNMI's corporate power being to put its thumb on the scale a little, and the flavor text, you'd never know the world government was involved at all. And when you take the turmoil expansion into account, it becomes really clear that while the world government may have set things in motion, it's the corporations who are running the show on the new planet. Each generation, corporations send their delegates to decide which political faction will control Mars for a generation. They get TR back for their delegates, and there's even a secret society corporation called Septum Tribus that gets extra points for insinuating its people into the government. There is also some incentive in the game to at least pretend to play nice. In addition to the TR you earn, there are also victory points, which come on cards and through a few other mechanics. There's no statement of exactly what these victory points reflect, like the TR does the actual terraforming, but at least one card in Turmoil heavily implies that this is related to the public perception and popularity of your corporation. The flavor text on the card of the Turmoil Corporation Pristar reads, Pristar is building sustainable Martian societies where residents and tourists can experience the untouched beauty of Mars. Their preservation approach makes them very popular, but also somewhat unreliable in the eyes of the Terraforming Committee. To express that mechanically, Pristar starts with 2 fewer TR, but every generation in which they don't gain any TR, they get victory points for the end of game. Taking victory points as public opinion makes a lot of sense. After all, if you bribe a committee, when it comes to light at the end of game, you lose 2 victory points. And if you have a city, you get a point for every forest next to it, because forests make people happy. Many of the points on cards come with an explicit nod to the fact that you're catering to the rich. For instance, the corporate era card Miranda Resort reads, It attracts many of the thrill seekers among the rich on Earth. And the Preludes card Space Hotel says, Space tourism was one of the most important sources of income for the space industry. In a future where SpaceX is more important than NASA, this seems pretty likely. But some victory points come with even more disturbing implications. For instance, if you build a security fleet, you get 1 victory point for every fighter you create, keeping the peace by force. And even worse, if you play Callisto Penal Mines, literal carceral slavery, you get 2 victory points at the end of game, and gain 3 money income. The chilling text on the card reads, You always wanted to be a warden, didn't you? Slavery can net you negative points if it's indentured workers, working for almost no pay in exchange for a ticket to Mars, or a corporate stronghold, a city where you control every aspect of your laborers' lives, a city exclusively devoted to your corporation. The implication there being that slavery is popular so long as it's criminals and far away, just don't bring it here to Mars. A really law and order approach seems to suit a corporate oligarchy. There are some other things that point to the stark difference between the haves and have-nots of this future. For instance, anyone can build a city as a standard action, without using a card. But there is a card that lets you build, specifically, an immigrant city. Now, since no one is native to Mars, you would think that everyone would be an immigrant. So, who exactly is this for? Let's see what the card has to say for itself. Taking care of immigrants is costly, but will begin to pay off when they start working for you in the growing society. So, who are these immigrants? If you're paying for them, they're not the rich people coming to the Miranda Resort. They're probably the working poor, and That means that you're controlling their rent and, probably, given the nature of the card's power, profiting off of the labor when they get sent to build other cities. In fact, as one astute Redditor put it, this immigrant city is really a ghetto where the megacorps have put all their laborers, probably through charging more than they can afford to pay almost everywhere else, and you get to profit off the rent they have to pay. You always wanted to be a slumlord, didn't you? It's hard not to see those immigrant poor as being racially charged, and it doesn't help that, as far as I can tell, the only black person figured on any of the game art is an indentured servant. There aren't that many depictions of humans with faces and features in this game, but if there's enough for there to be an entire card self-inserting the game designer, there are enough depictions for there to be more Asians outside the hacker's card than inside it. But the poor, and even the rich, aren't really characters here. You're only reminded of them when certain cards come up. Most of the game encourages you to think like the warden, slumlord CEO you are, concerned more with the big picture and the running of your corporation. You aren't really in this for the good of terraforming Mars or the benefit of humanity, no matter what the world government says. For the first half of game, you're trying to raise your incomes, and for the second half, you're just scrabbling for points wherever you can claim them. It's frequent for players to delay placing that last ocean or raising the heat one more time, just to eke one more generation's worth of points and money out of the terraforming committee. You're really playing against the other corporations, and it's not really direct corporate sabotage. There are a few attack cards, but they generally don't give you any TR or victory points. You can release a virus, dangerous enough to be both liquid-borne and airborne, and not face any consequences for it. The attacks that provide victory points, like birds or predators, tend to be things that have a visible connection that people can make between their ecosystem and Earth's, making you more popular, not because you destroyed the other player's plant income. And the ones that provide TR tend to raise the heat, and if another player loses a few plants along the way, well, whoopsie-doodle. As I mentioned, the goal here is not really to sabotage other corporations so much as it is to build up your own incomes to the point where you can buy your way to victory. And you do have 6 different incomes, but they're all represented with the same little cubes, leading to this illusion and sometimes even reality of fungibility that only makes sense when you're at the level where money is just another tool. And indeed, a megacredit seems to be rather a lot. To give you an idea of how much a megacredit might be, the most expensive card in the game is IO Mining Industries, costing a whopping 41 megacredits. So that includes things like the mining apparatus you would need to mine Io as an entire mini-planet, the transport and labor, and the infrastructure to keep it coming back and forth for 41 megacredits. Even one must be unimaginably large. And you start the game with an income of 20. Your victory depends on your savvy business sense, your ability to leverage your resources for maximum potential gain, and your incomes for maximum synergy. Not on the speed at which you terraform or the benefit you provide to humanity. And the game takes place over something like 15 generations, so why should you care about individuals? The language in the flavor text suggests a world at peace with itself, looking to expand the benefit of humanity. But the mechanics imply a hypercapitalism that's bound to destroy this new world just the same way it did the old one. Don't look at the greed behind the curtain. This isn't too different from the messages we get in the real world about capitalism, and it's easy to miss given the excellent and engaging gameplay. After all, as a wise woman once said, It is possible, even necessary, to apply this kind of critique to the things that we love, and let me tell you, I have played this game a lot. It's not like the game designers are out there trying to push hypercapitalism. In fact, as far as I can tell, the Frixelius family, who created this game, don't really talk about their politics in public. But it is possible to frame a hypercapitalistic spacefaring future quite differently, even in a board game. Take, for instance, Phoenix Syndicate. In Phoenix Syndicate, you explicitly play criminal organizations smuggling goods around the galaxy, and contraband is the most valuable. Instead of megacorporations insinuating their agents into government, the Syndicate insinuates agents into megacorporations, corrupting them for their own benefit. Money exists, but in a totally different way. Money in Phoenix Syndicate is victory points, and isn't used for anything else. The messaging here is, you are the bad guys. Isn't that fun? Capitalism is deeply exploitable, and money was always the point. It's possible to reimagine the things that Terraforming Mars takes for granted. And it's possible to reimagine your own relationship to those assumptions, even while you compete for that last TR. Keep learning, friends.